You'll never amount to anything beyond that shop. My brother-in-law laughed at Christmas. So I anonymously paid his entire mortgage and watched him brag about it. I have never been the type to flaunt my success. I drive a modest car, live in a comfortable but not extravagant home, and wear clothes from department stores. My wife often jokes that no one would guess I'm the founder of a tech company that went public 3 years ago. I prefer it that way. Keeping my wealth private has always felt right to me. Christmas dinner at my in-laws' house has been a tradition since I married my wife 8 years ago. It's usually pleasant enough, though my brother-in-law has always been difficult. He works in finance and never misses an opportunity to mention his bonus or latest luxury purchase. I've always smiled and nodded, never feeling the need to compete. Last Christmas, something changed. We were all sitting around the table, enjoying dessert, when the conversation turned to careers. My mother-in-law innocently asked how my little computer business was doing. Before I could answer, my brother-in-law snorted into his wine glass. Still fixing laptops in that tiny office downtown? How quaint. The table went quiet. My wife tensed beside me. Business is steady, I replied with a smile. Can't complain. He wasn't satisfied with that. You know, when my sister married you, I thought you'd eventually move on to something substantial. But here we are. What? 8 years later? Same dead-end job. My father-in-law cleared his throat uncomfortably. My wife started to speak, but I gently touched her hand. This wasn't the first time he'd taken shots at me, and I'd always let them slide. Some people just don't have ambition, he continued, swirling his expensive bourbon. Not everyone can handle the pressure of real success. Some people peak at fixing computers. He laughed, looking around the table for support. No one joined in. Then he leaned forward, eyes slightly glazed from too much alcohol. You'll never amount to anything beyond that little shop. And honestly, I've always wondered how you afford to take care of my sister on whatever pittance you make. My wife stood up abruptly. That's enough. I gently pulled her back down. It's okay, I said quietly. The evening eventually recovered, though the tension remained. On the drive home, my wife apologized profusely, but I assured her it wasn't her fault. I wasn't angry, I was contemplative. That night, while my wife slept, I sat in our home office and made a decision. I'd always believed in quiet success, in helping others without fanfare. My brother-in-law, meanwhile, was drowning in debt trying to maintain his lavish lifestyle. I knew this because he'd once drunkenly confessed to my wife that his mortgage was killing him, but he was too proud to downsize. The next morning, I called my financial advisor and arranged to anonymously pay off my brother-in-law's mortgage, all $437,000 of it. The paperwork was handled through layers of corporate entities, ensuring he would never know it was me. The only condition was that the bank inform him it had been paid by someone who believed in his potential. 3 weeks later, at a family dinner, he announced the news, completely baffled but ecstatic. Some anonymous benefactor paid off our entire mortgage. Can you believe it? Must be someone from work who appreciates my talents. I smiled and raised my glass. That's wonderful. Congratulations. That was the last family dinner I attended. I made excuses for subsequent gatherings, sending my wife alone. When she asked why, I simply said I needed space from her family for a while. She understood, having witnessed years of her brother's condescension. It's been 11 months now. My brother-in-law still has no idea who his benefactor is, and he never will. I've heard through my wife that he's become even more boastful, claiming the mysterious gift confirms his importance in the world. As for me, I've found peace in this strange resolution. I helped someone who despises me, then removed myself from his presence forever. My wife visits her family without me, and our marriage is stronger for it. Sometimes the best revenge isn't proving someone wrong. It's helping them despite their cruelty, then walking away with your dignity intact. Update 1, 3 months later. I didn't expect this post to get much attention, but I appreciate all the comments and support. A lot has happened since I wrote this, so I thought I'd provide an update. My absence from family gatherings didn't go unnoticed for long. About a month after my original post, my mother-in-law called me directly, which was unusual. She asked point-blank why I was avoiding family dinners. I tried to be diplomatic, saying I was just busy with work, but she wasn't buying it. It's because of what he said at Christmas, isn't it? She asked. I hesitated, then admitted it was uncomfortable being around someone who clearly looked down on me. She was quiet for a moment before saying something that surprised me. We've noticed how he treats you. It's not right, and frankly, we should have said something years ago. That conversation was cathartic. I didn't reveal anything about the mortgage payment, but it felt good to be honest about why I'd stepped back. Meanwhile, my brother-in-law's behavior took an interesting turn. According to my wife, he's been asking about me more frequently at family gatherings. Not in a concerned way, but almost competitively. How's his little computer shop doing? Or, I bet he wishes he had my connections. The irony is that my company just acquired one of his firm's major clients. He has no idea that the anonymous tech consortium that took over their IT infrastructure is actually my little computer shop. My name doesn't appear on any of the paperwork. I learned long ago to keep my public profile minimal. My wife found this hilarious, but has kept my secret. She's been incredibly supportive through all of this, though I know it's hard for her to be caught in the middle. As for the mortgage situation, there was an unexpected development. The bank apparently made an administrative error and sent a thank you letter to my brother-in-law's address with the name of one of my shell companies on it. It's several layers removed from me personally, but it did cause a brief panic. Fortunately, when he Googled the company name, all he found was a generic holding company with no clear ownership information. He's now convinced it was a wealthy client from his firm who's trying to remain anonymous for tax reasons. He's been driving himself crazy trying to figure out which client it might be, even taking some to expensive lunches to fish for information. I still have no intention of ever telling him the truth. Some gifts are better left anonymous, and some relationships are better left in the past. Update 2, 6 months later. Things have taken an unexpected turn. Last month, my father-in-law had a health scare, a minor heart attack that, thankfully, he's recovering well from. This crisis brought the family together, and I couldn't justify staying away during such a time. When I walked into the hospital waiting room, my brother-in-law was there. The look on his face was complicated, surprise, confusion, and something else I couldn't quite identify. We nodded at each other awkwardly before focusing on my father-in-law's condition. Over the next few days, as we all took shifts at the hospital, something shifted. Crisis has a way of stripping away pretenses. One evening, as we were both getting coffee from the hospital cafeteria, he cleared his throat. Look, I know I've been a jerk to you over the years. I nearly dropped my coffee. In 8 years, this was the closest thing to an apology I'd ever heard from him. The thing is, he continued, staring into his cup, I've always been jealous of how easy you make everything look. You're content with what you have. I've never felt that way. I didn't know what to say, so I just listened. Since someone paid off our mortgage, and I still have no idea who or why, I've been doing a lot of thinking about what really matters. He looked uncomfortable, like each word was being forcibly extracted. Anyway, I'm sorry for what I said last Christmas, and probably a lot of other times too. It wasn't a perfect apology, but it felt genuine. I told him I appreciated it, and we left it at that. What he doesn't know is that his financial situation has recently taken another hit. His firm is downsizing, and while he hasn't lost his job, his bonus was cut significantly. My wife mentioned he's been uncharacteristically quiet about money lately. Meanwhile, my little computer business just signed a contract with a major tech company that will essentially triple our revenue next year. Still, I drive the same car and live in the same house. Some habits don't change. The strangest part of all this, at the family dinner celebrating my father-in-law's return home from the hospital, my brother-in-law asked me for advice about possibly starting his own business. He's been thinking about leaving finance to open a specialty wine shop. Apparently, it's been a dream of his for years. I found myself actually giving him honest advice about small business ownership, startup costs, and realistic timelines for profitability. It was the first normal conversation we've ever had. I'm not sure what happens next. I don't think we'll ever be close, and I still have no intention of revealing the mortgage situation. But perhaps there's room for a civil relationship, something I wouldn't have thought possible 6 months ago. Life is strange sometimes. You think you know how a story ends, and then it takes an entirely different direction. Update 3, 1 year later. It's been exactly 1 year since my original post, and I'm still processing everything that's happened. The situation with my brother-in-law has evolved in ways I never could have predicted. His wine shop actually opened 3 months ago. It's a small place in a decent location, focusing on boutique vineyards and local producers. To everyone's surprise, especially mine, he asked if I would help set up his point-of-sale system and website. I agreed, charging him my standard rate. No family discount, no inflated price. Just business. Working together on this project gave us an unexpected opportunity to talk. Really talk, without the family dynamics at play. During one late night setting up his inventory system, after a glass of wine, he opened up about his financial struggles over the years. I was drowning before that mortgage got paid off, he admitted. The pressure to keep up appearances was killing me. I was working 80-hour weeks just to maintain the lifestyle everyone expected. He still has no idea I was behind it, and watching him build something he's genuinely passionate about has been satisfying in a way I didn't anticipate. The wine shop isn't making much profit yet, but he seems happier than I've ever seen him. He scaled back his lifestyle significantly, sold the luxury car, moved to a smaller house, stopped taking extravagant vacations. His wife seems relieved by the change. As for my business, we've continued to grow. though I recently turned down an acquisition offer that would have made headlines. I prefer to keep building something sustainable rather than cashing out completely. My relationship with my brother-in-law will never be what you'd call warm, but there's a mutual respect now that wasn't there before. We attend family functions together, make polite conversation, and occasionally even share a laugh. Last week, he asked me to join the board of a small nonprofit he's involved with that helps underprivileged kids learn about entrepreneurship. I accepted. It feels like the right next step. I still think about that Christmas dinner sometimes, about the hurt and anger I felt. But mostly, I'm grateful for how things turned out. Not because I won some unspoken competition, but because sometimes helping someone, even someone who's hurt you, can lead to unexpected growth for everyone involved. I don't regret paying off his mortgage, and I don't regret keeping it a secret. Some gifts aren't about recognition. They're about doing what you believe is right, regardless of whether anyone else ever knows. If there's a lesson in all this, maybe it's that success isn't measured by who has the most impressive job title or the biggest house. Real success is being content with your choices and using whatever resources you have, financial or otherwise, to create positive change. Even if that change starts with someone who once said you'd never amount to anything.